told you that the hardest part of making a multiplayer game isn't actually getting players, it's keeping them. Because here's the thing, most multiplayer games actually don't fail at launch. I mean, other than Concord. They fail right after. The hype fades, the numbers die down, streamers move on to other things, YouTubers go and cover other games that interest them, and you're really only left with a small, dedicated core audience. But there's one game that's out right now that has absolutely broken that pattern. And if you haven't guessed it by now, it's Arc Raiders. So there's a reason why I want to talk about this game. And it's because it stands out to me as being a game that's very different from everything else that's currently available. Yeah, sure, there's other extraction shooters, and yeah, sure, there's other multiplayer games, but they don't do it like Arc Raiders does. And it's not just because the game has a slightly more casual appeal, or just because the game has really good gameplay. It's because Arc Raiders sets itself up to have moments that you just can't experience in other games. And I think that's what draws people into it so much that they just can't let go. Let me back up for a second and talk about Battlefield, okay? This isn't a Battlefield video, but I think it closely relates. Battlefield this year in 2025, had the opportunity to take the throne from Call of Duty, which everybody knows that for the past little while, Call of Duty has been struggling. Even though there's people who love Call of Duty and they'll play it every year, that series has really fallen on hard times due to just absolutely being garbage and not knowing how to maintain their game once it launches. So Battlefield, coming with an absolutely incredible beta, had the prime opportunity to make the first-person landscape their own and basically push Call of Duty aside and say, we're top dogs now, everybody, and Call of Duty doesn't matter. Then they had a second chance with RedSec, saying, you want to get out of Warzone, that buggy piece of garbage? Well, come play RedSec. Which, I gotta be honest, is a much better battle royale. It's very similar, but it plays much better, to me at least. But here's the thing, that game launched with over 750,000 players on Steam. And in less than a month, it lost 50% of its player base. And now currently sits at a 24-hour peak of roughly 77,000 players. That's a massive drop-off. But it's not uncommon. Most multiplayer games have this kind of drop-off, where within the first month, if not even the first couple weeks, they see a drastic decline in the amount of players. Because a lot of people like to hop in because they're excited and they want that first moment of being like, oh my God, it's the game I've been waiting for. They play a little bit and they go, okay, I've had my fill. I'll go back to what I'm used to. I'll go back to Fortnite. I'll go back to whatever the hell it is you're playing. Or something else simply comes out and takes your attention away, which is very common because something great pretty much comes out every week right now. And unless you're a game like Counter-Strike or League of Legends or Roblox, you're not really maintaining that type of very high player count on a day-to-day basis. That is, of course, unless you're Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders launched on Steam to an all-time peak of 481,000 players, and it still achieves a daily count of 400,000 players. It's barely lost anybody. No other game does this. It's impossible. Multiplayer games come and go, dude. Live service games, it's like they sprout up daily and they die within the same week because people just move on. There's too many games vying for your attention and people just aren't sure of where to stick to. And then when they find that one game that they do stick to, they don't seem to let go. But Arc Raiders has completely broken that by reeling people in and giving you so much satisfaction that you just can't pull away. First of all, not only has Embark done an amazing job with the finals, which is an excellent 3 versus 3 versus 3 versus 3, maybe that's too many threes, but an excellent first-person shooter, competitive first-person shooter that is so good and honestly doesn't get enough players, but they know what they're doing with that. And they obviously know what they're doing here. They've created an extraction shooter that is so approachable and filled with so many exciting moments that every single time you play the game, you don't know what you're gonna get into. Which is to say, sure, you have those moments in other games like Battle Royales. Sure, you have those moments in other, like, Valorant and League of Legends, where there are crazy things that can happen. Every game there's a potential for something crazy, but does it happen always? No, it doesn't. But Arc Raiders seems to deliver on that by giving you tension, by giving you proximity chat that actually people use and use it to create interesting dynamics where you can create allies, or you can betray people, or you can tell people that you're friendly even though you're literally shooting them down and killing them. It's just created an experience for you where you're always guaranteed to have a moment of fun. It actually makes me think about Halo, which is strange because you think, how does Halo get involved with this? But all the way back when Bungie was making Halo 1, they had this design mantra where they essentially said that we want to create 30 seconds of fun that we can replicate so that you're just constantly in a loop of every 30 seconds, something fun should be happening that's getting you engaged and that's keeping you glued to the game. And it worked. And it's why Halo is considered to be one of the greatest first-person shooters ever. Everybody loves Halo. Well, Not anymore, but they did. And I think Arc Raiders has done that, where they've made it so that you're constantly experiencing something exciting. The arc is there to throw you off your game and just completely throw your plan against the wall, because maybe you thought you were gonna go in and go this way and go after that team, but then all of a sudden you gotta go the other way because a Rocketeer comes, and now when you're forced that way, you're fighting somebody else, and then you try and exit, but there's guys there and you gotta go back, and it just, everything is like dynamic. And they've not only done a good job at maintaining the players through those moments, but they've also done things like offering a battle pass that is easily accessible and gives you stuff for free, and you're not spending money for no reason on stuff that you don't want. Then they've also lowered costs in the item shop, because at the beginning they were a little too high and people complained, and they said, hey, we get it, you're right, they are too high, and they adjusted it. Sure, the game has cheaters, and they really got to deal with that stuff because it's getting a little extreme. I mean, I just got killed by a bunch of guys who were sitting inside the roof, which is like, what the fuck? Sucks to experience that. And it happens a lot, and it's happening more and more. And instead of addressing that kind of stuff, they're dealing with things like nerfing certain items and stuff, which is, that's not really what the focus should be on. It should be addressing these exploitations, because the exploitations will lead to people quitting your game rather than a grenade doing too much damage. But I think they're going to address that. And yeah, there are people like the streamer Nick Merckx and his friends who are starting to say like, hey, you know what? Like, it's very clear now that these people didn't have a sustainable plan because we're starting to experience these things that are gonna make us jump off the game. But not everybody has put 6,000 hours into the game since release. So you're not talking to the general population of people who play this game, which is not to say that I'm a casual player. I've put hundreds of hours into this game and I absolutely love it, but that's a different level. You know what I mean? Those people have experienced everything there is to experience, but even then they're still playing it daily. It gets them viewers. People want to watch this game because they know that every single time that they watch it, that something cool is going to happen. And that's why people love Arc Raiders. It is a cool game that guarantees you that something cool is going to happen. And that's why it's not dying, because people know that every single time they hop on, they will have a good time. They will experience something that they can laugh about with their friends, something that they can make a clip out of, something that they can tell stories about and be like, oh my God, remember when we got into this crazy fight? That's what this game is built on. It's built on those moments of 30 seconds of fun that are repeating and never end. You don't have the same experience every single round. In Battlefield, when I play RedSec, I really like RedSec, to be honest. I think it's probably the best battle royale. Every time I play RedSec, the games go very, very similarly. Am I having a great time? Absolutely. But I almost land always at the exact same place. We go to the same points on the map. We do the same things. We fight sometimes a lot of people, sometimes not. Sometimes we get killed by a tank, sometimes not. Whereas Arc Raiders, it feels like sometimes you get into a round, 5 seconds in, you get hit with, 4 teams coming at you from all different angles. You're caught in the middle of it. Guns exploding, Arc pulls in, there's grenades, everything's going mental. Are you gonna get out or not? It's crazy. And you just don't expect it. And every time you play, you don't know what you're getting into. And I think they nailed it, honestly. And I think while other games are sitting there being like, well, I don't know what to do. How do we make a game this good? Let's make High Guard. Which honestly, I have hopes for High Guard. But you're not gonna find that same Arc Raiders experience in High Guard as you do in Arc Raiders. You just won't. And I think Arc Raiders is gonna be one of those games where people look at it like Expedition 33, honestly, where a lot of people are like, Expedition 33 changed the RPG landscape. And, it brought a lot of new people into RPGs and JRPGs. And I think Arc Raiders is doing that with extraction shooters. And I think you're gonna see when Marathon comes out that it's gonna have adjusted a lot of things to accommodate Arc Raiders players. Even though it's first person and even though it's supposed to be more competitive, I guess, I think they're going to incorporate a lot of Arc Raiders into that because they see that it works. Arc Raiders has honestly figured it out, man. Like, really. They've done an amazing job, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.